Hey everyone. You know, AI is like the hot topic right now.
Yeah,
It's everywhere.
it really is.
It seems like it's changing everything.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to do a deep dive today on something that takes AI even further.
Okay.
An autonomous AI agent. It's called BeeBot.
That's right.
So imagine like a digital worker bee,
Okay.
except instead of making honey, it's churning out completed tasks.
Exactly.
That was kind of the idea behind this.
Yeah.
Now, BeeBot itself, development is on hold for now.
Right.
But they've made all of their code and documentation open.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be looking at what BeeBot could do
Yeah,
and maybe get some insight into the future of this type of technology.
definitely.
And here's what I find interesting about it. It's
Right.
not just about the code.
Okay.
It's really about
Yeah.
the way they went about it, the developers.
Right.
They really prioritize practicality and real-world applications.
Absolutely. They wanted to make sure that it could actually succeed in doing stuff in the real world.
Yeah, like actually tackling tasks. Not just, a cool AI, but a useful AI.
Yeah. Adaptable, reliable, efficient, user-friendly.
Okay, so let's break that down.
Okay.
What does that actually look like?
So one of the key things is their focus on tools.
Okay.
So think of it like they're giving BeeBot like a toolbox,
Okay.
but instead of, hammers and screwdrivers,
Right.
it's got these digital tools that are carefully selected and described.
Okay.
And that helps ensure that the large language models, the LLMs, the brains behind the operation,
Yeah,
they can use these tools reliably.
I see.
Yeah.
So instead of like one massive AI brain
Right.
that's trying to do everything,
Yeah.
BeeBot is more like a team of specialists.
Exactly.
Each one has its own area of expertise.
Yeah, and that's actually how they leverage the large language models.
Okay.
So they use OpenAI for like the big picture stuff,
Uh-huh.
planning, decision making.
Okay.
But then they might use other LLMs
Right.
that are particularly good at certain things. So one might be really good at writing, another one might be really good at data analysis or something like that.
So it's like assembling the best team possible for the job.
Exactly.
That's cool.
This specialization makes BeeBot way more efficient and effective.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting to me.
Okay.
The developers took this really unusual approach to development.
Yeah,
They totally skipped unit testing.
you're right. That is pretty unorthodox.
Yeah.
Most developers live and die by unit tests
Yeah.
to make sure every part of the software is working correctly.
Right, right.
But the BeeBot team, they went all in on end-to-end testing instead.
So instead of testing each little piece in isolation,
Yeah,
they're more focused on, does the entire system work together
yeah. Does it get the job done?
to achieve the desired outcome?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like putting all their eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
It's a bold strategy.
It is bold, but it also aligns with their focus on practicality.
Okay.
They're not really worried about how each tiny little component works. They're just like, does it work?
Does it do what it needs to do?
Exactly.
Okay. And speaking of bold statements,
Okay.
the developers have said that they think BeeBot's real strength
Yeah.
might not even be in coding,
Interesting.
which is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
It does have potential there. But
Right.
what else could BeeBot be good at?
That's what makes this deep dive so cool.
Yeah.
Because we just associate AI with coding.
We do.
But maybe BeeBot's pointing to this future where AI agents can do way more.
Okay, well, before we speculate too much,
Yeah.
let's bring it back down to earth
Okay.
and talk about some of the key features of BeeBot.
Okay.
This thing's packed with them.
Yeah.
Tool selection persistence.
A REST API,
Oh, yeah.
WebSocket server,
Mm-hmm.
swappable file system emulation,
Yeah.
dynamic manipulation of history during task execution.
It's a mouthful. I know.
It is a mouthful, but these features,
Yeah.
these give BeeBot some serious power and flexibility.
Okay, but for those of us who aren't,
Software engineers?
yeah.
What does all that actually mean? Like, how would
Yeah.
someone use these features?
Yeah, let's start with persistence.
Okay.
So this means BeeBot can remember things
Okay.
and learn from past experiences.
So it's not starting from scratch every time you
Eh,
interact with it.
Yeah, imagine you're using it to manage your schedule.
Okay.
It's going to remember your preferences.
Okay.
It's going to learn your habits.
Mm-hmm.
And it might even be able to anticipate your needs over time.
So it's getting smarter.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about,
So the REST API.
yeah, the REST API and the WebSocket server?
Okay.
Those basically allow BeeBot to talk to other systems
Okay.
and applications.
Mm-hmm.
So you could integrate BeeBot into your existing workflows.
Okay.
It could pull information from your calendar
Okay.
or send emails through your regular email provider.
Gotcha.
And even like collaborate with other software tools.
So it's not just this like isolated AI working in a vacuum.
Right.
It's a part of your existing digital ecosystem.
Exactly.
That opens up a lot of possibilities
It does.
for businesses and just regular people alike.
Absolutely.
Okay, so then we have...
So then file system emulation.
Okay.
You can think of this as giving BeeBot different ways to organize its digital filing cabinet.
Okay.
So it can store files in memory on a disk in a database,
Okay.
depending on the task.
So it's flexible in terms of how it handles information.
Exactly.
Okay, what about dynamic history manipulation?
Okay.
This one sounds a little intimidating, to be honest.
It's actually really impressive. So you imagine you're working on something complicated,
Right.
and BeeBot hits a roadblock.
Uh-huh.
With dynamic history manipulation, it can essentially rewind,
Okay.
analyze its previous steps,
Yeah.
and adjust its approach.
So it's like having a built-in do-over button.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not just blindly following instructions. It's actually like learning and adapting as it goes.
Exactly. It's learning in real time.
That does sound like a super-powered digital worker bee.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
But BeeBot development is currently on hold.
It is.
And the developers have been very open about why.
Yeah.
They've pointed out some limitations with current LLMs,
Yeah.
particularly when it comes to things like
Yeah.
structured thinking, reliable outcomes,
Right. Right.
and consistently following instructions.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's still a lot of room for improvement.
Definitely. It's still early days for this kind of technology.
Yeah.
But the fact that they've gotten this far is impressive.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder what BeeBot could do with more advanced LLMs.
That's a great question. What do you think?
Well, I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing these like incredible advancements in AI like almost every day.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we're hitting these fundamental challenges.
Okay.
LLMs are great at generating text, understanding patterns,
Yeah.
but they're still not so good at things like real reasoning and planning.
Yeah. So what would it take to overcome those limitations?
Okay.
What advancements would we need to see to get like a BeeBot or something to really take off?
So first off, we'd need LLMs that are much better at understanding like complex instructions
Okay.
and breaking them down into steps.
Okay.
Like think about how you would approach a task.
Right.
You wouldn't just jump in blindly. You'd think about it.
Right.
You'd come up with a plan.
Yeah.
LLMs need to get a lot better at that kind of structured thinking.
But it's not just about thinking, is it?
No.
It's about like
It's about
translating those thoughts into actions.
Yeah, into reliable actions in the real world.
Right.
Absolutely. So we need LLMs that can consistently produce predictable outcomes.
Okay.
Because right now, like, there's still a lot of randomness and variability in how LLMs respond to things.
Right.
So for an AI agent to be really useful, it needs to be dependable.
Yeah.
You need to know that it's going to do what you want it to do every time.
So let's say like those advancements happen. Okay. LLMs get smarter, more reliable, better at planning and executing tasks.
Yeah.
What then?
Right.
Like what kind of impact
What could these things do?
could autonomous AI agents like BeeBot have on the world?
I mean, the potential is huge.
Yeah.
Think about all the tasks that are currently done by humans that these things could do.
Yeah.
Scheduling appointments, managing emails, booking travel,
Right.
even writing reports, analyzing data.
How much time could we save
Right.
if we could offload some of that stuff?
It's like having a personal assistant
Yeah.
on steroids.
Yeah, but even more than that, like imagine AI agents working in teams,
Oh, yeah.
like collaborating on complex projects.
Yeah,
I mean, we could see entire industries transformed by this.
absolutely. And it's not just about efficiency and productivity.
Okay.
AI agents could also help us to be more creative.
Good.
They could analyze massive amounts of data, find patterns that we might miss, and generate new ideas that we never would have thought of on our own.
So it's not just about replacing human jobs.
Right.
It's about like...
It's about augmenting what we can do.
Yeah, working together
Working together.
to achieve more.
Yeah.
What are some specific examples of how different organizations could use an AI agent like BeeBot?
Okay, so let's get specific.
Okay.
Imagine a small business owner. They're just constantly juggling all these different tasks.
Yeah.
They could use BeeBot to manage their social media, schedule their appointments, handle basic customer service inquiries.
Right.
That would free up so much time for them to actually grow their business.
It'd be huge for like a small business owner who's already stretched thin.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what about larger organizations?
Okay, so think about like an engineering team.
Okay.
They could use BeeBot to automate code testing and deployment.
Right.
That would free up their developers to work on more complex problems.
So increased efficiency, productivity, innovation.
Yeah.
Across all kinds of industries.
Across the board.
This is pretty exciting stuff.
It is.
But for now, BeeBot remains just like a glimpse into the future.
Yeah.
Of what autonomous AI could be. Even though development is on hold.
Right.
There's still a lot to learn from what they did.
Absolutely. Their work is super valuable.
Yeah.
It gives us insights into the challenges and the opportunities of building these truly autonomous AI agents.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that we are still very early on in this whole thing.
So what does all this mean for, like, the average person listening?
Yeah.
What's the takeaway from this whole deep dive into BeeBot?
Well,
how could AI agents like this play a role in your life?
Right.
In your work?
Yeah, I mean, it's something to think about.
Yeah.
Even if BeeBot itself never really gets going,
right.
the ideas behind it and how ambitious it was, those are a sign of what's to come. Like, the developers have really given us a glimpse.
Yeah, they've pulled back the curtain.
Yeah, of what's possible.
Yeah.
Maybe even what's right around the corner.
So it might be time to start thinking about how you're going to be interacting with AI agents in the future.
Right. Like, will they be your colleagues, your collaborators, or even something we haven't even thought of yet?
Right.
That's what's so exciting about this.
Yeah.
We're still making the rules.
Yeah, it's a wide open future.
Totally.
If you want to learn more about BeeBot
and
see the code and all the documentation, we'll include links in the show notes.
Definitely.
Even though the project's on hold for now,
there's
a lot of great information there.
Yeah.
Tons.
You want to dig in some more.
And remember, the future of AI isn't just being built by, like, developers and labs.
Right.
It's being shaped by all of us.
Yeah.
By the questions we ask, the choices we make, the conversations we have.
So keep exploring. Keep learning. Keep asking the big questions.
Yeah.
Because the future is coming.
It is.
And AI is powering it.
It's true. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.